Good afternoon and welcome to the April 26, 2021 meeting of the Orlando City Council. We're going to begin today's proceedings with the invocation and then the Pledge of Allegiance today led by Commissioner Hill.
Thank you, Mayor. Eternal God, we thank you for this day, for allowing us, the leaders of this great city, the mayor and my fellow commissioners, to join together in unity. I pray for your direction and guidance in making decisions for the best interests of our residents and community. God, grant us peace that surpasses all understanding in our collaborative thoughts, visions, and ideas. Heal our citizens in our community during a time we have been impacted by devastation of a pandemic. Help us on this road of recovery in the worst of times to look forward, dear Jesus, to the best of times and your unconditional blessings. God, we pray for our city, our elected officials, and law enforcement, that through your power, we will be the leaders that you would have us to be. To work together in unity and overcome obstacles set before us. Bless us as a unified body and give us strength to continue our mission, your mission, Lord, to serve the community with pride, respect, and dignity. Thank you for your continued blessings, and thank you for your hands of protection over each and every one of us in the city of Orlando. It is in the name above all names I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll and make a determination of a quorum, please?
Commissioner Gray,
Here.
Commissioner Ortiz,
Here.
Commissioner Stewart,
Here.
Commissioner Sheehan, Commissioner Hill,
Here.
Commissioner Burns, Mayor Dyer.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum with all members present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. First order of business is agenda review and city council meeting minutes from April 26th.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Okay, let's go ahead and do the mayor's update. Just in case from a distance it looked like I hit my fingers with a hammer. I did not. My nails are painted blue for National Child Abuse Prevention Month. I joined Embrace Families in the Man-A-Cure movement to raise awareness for National Child Abuse. Chief, you still got blue fingernails? You're supposed to keep them to the end of the month. Okay. April's also National Volunteer Appreciation Month, and throughout this pandemic, so many of our residents have volunteered their time and talents to our neighbors in need. It includes many of the City of Orlando family members who volunteer on a regular basis. So on behalf of City Council, I want to thank the city's volunteers and all of those who volunteered during the past year. And speaking of COVID, there's more and more access to the vaccine, and there's been a drop-off at a number of the sites in terms of the number of people who are going to get vaccinated. So it's pretty easy to do that now. You can walk up at any of the mobile sites, just check the websites, and it's a very easy thing to do if you want to be vaccinated. And I would encourage everyone to do that. It's important if we want to get back to life as we would like to have it, in some sense of normalcy, so you can protect yourself, but just as importantly, you can make sure that we can all function safely and build our economy back. And if you've already been vaccinated, you can certainly advocate to others to do so. I want to mention one item of note on the council agenda, and that's B7. We had a workshop this morning on our rental assistance program. We're using $8.6 million of federal funding that it came for that specific purpose. So on the agenda today is a partnership agreement with KPMG to administer the program. And if you are interested in applying, it is for city residents who are behind in the rent. So you can go to orlando.gov/assistance and sign up for updates and for when the application portal opens, probably in 2 weeks. With that, we'll move on to the consent agenda, which is a number of items that are acted upon through a single vote of council. We give each of our commissioners an opportunity to comment on items of the consent agenda and update you on important happenings from their districts. We rotate the order that we do that, and today Commissioner Hill is first up.
Thank you, Mayor Dyer. Well, good afternoon, council and citizens. I just want to send my sincere condolences, Mayor, to Dr. Tim Adams' family. He passed away in his sleep a couple of nights ago. He was one of the first leaders that I knew by living in Paramore that I could actually touch and talk to as a little girl. And he has been a true warrior on the west side of Orlando and for the DEC. So my condolences to him and his family. On Thursday, April 15th, myself, the mayor, and Commissioner Stewart was able to attend the Salt Mobile Laundry Kickoff held there at the Christian Service Center, being led by Mr. Eric Gray. It was something that was a long time coming, where they have, as the mayor stated, we can give so many different services to our homeless community, but if they have to continue to wake up with dirty laundry and dirty clothes, it still does not humanize them. So the city was able to help sponsor 6 washers and dryers in a mobile trailer there with the partnership of Simply Healthcare. So thank you all for that. They're being held there in the Paramore area, where our homeless citizens can come 3 days a week and receive not only showers that we sponsored, a shower mobile trailer. Now they have their laundry along with haircuts and wraparound services that the Christian Service Center is offering there. Them to hopefully stabilize them and empower them so that they can go out and do great things. On Wednesday, April the 21st, I was able to join our neighborhood patrol over at Jernigan Gardens. They have a monthly fun day there under the leadership of OPD Officer Sergeant Young Hall. And Officer Hyatt and Rogers, that comes from that neighborhood, came up with this initiative, and it is working through the benevolence of Commissioner Sheehan, Commissioner Stewart, I think Ortiz and Gray and myself, right before you came, Commissioner Burns, we were able to purchase a basketball hoop where we take OPD, takes it out into the community and play ball with our younger citizens and kind of start to formulate relationships and bridge that gap. They had hula hoop contests and Mr. Ice Cream came by and he had his ice cream truck and gave them all soft ice cream there. Mr. Softy, I apologize. Mr. Softy came out with his ice cream truck and brought soft ice cream to the residents and the kids there. We had about 30 kids there. And I know this council and this mayor led the efforts after George Floyd to put some funding behind our words. And a neighborhood patrol team was put together there in our southwest area of District 5 and 6 and our Mercy Drive corridor. And this took place on the Mercy Drive corridor last Wednesday. And I saw our dollars working. I saw what we intended to do here on this council and through our leadership of Chief Rallone working, Mayor. I saw it working the moment where I saw almost a year ago when we had some murders in that corridor, in that particular apartment complex. I would look and troll Facebook and I would see 5 and 6 years old throwing up gang signs. And it broke my heart. And when I went out there, because of the efforts of OPD and the neighborhood patrol with getting to know the youth there in that complex and their parents, what I saw was holding hands and hula hooping together and hugs and actual just squeezes. I know we're in COVID, but that does not mean a child still does not need a hug. And they were hugging these kids and picking them up. I had photos for Ed to show, but unfortunately my email system is making it look like thumb drives, but I will try to bring it back our next session so you can actually see these initiatives working when we talk about community policing and bridging the gap. And the moment I knew, and I started to shed tears that it was working, Commissioner Burns. So when I saw this little black young man, probably about 11 years old, come and galvanize us and says, look, I need to show y'all something. Because we had given them some colored chalk to draw on the sidewalks. And it was some flowers that the little girls had wrote. And he wrote, I love the police. I love the police. Because I remember a time when kids would go in there, they despised, I would even say hated, the police. And there was a time where cops would go in there and the only thing they thought about when they went in there was arresting and condemning. And now you see that love and affection, they know their names. They knew what impressed me, Chief Rallone, is every one of those officers was glad to be there. And they knew each and every one of those little kids' names. All of them knew their names. And that means something, right? And so I just want to thank this council for your continued efforts in funding things that aren't normal. And especially after where there's so much tension, and we still got a lot of work to do. We know that. But throughout the country, and especially after the George Floyd verdict last week, how, even our officers aren't supporting officers that might do uncomely things. And community members are now seeing something and saying something. So I just had to share that. I don't have much, but I had to share that because you had to be there to see it. To see this gap being closed and seeing children being able to go outside and laugh and play again. And then having a relationship like the old days and knowing their neighborhood officer. So you guys and your women over there in the Mercy Drive corridor are doing a fabulous and fine job, Chief. On Wednesday, the 21st, I partnered, and this is what many of us on this dais and under Mayor Dyer's leadership and Dave Arnott and our Chief Barkdale's team is doing, want to start talking about vaccinations and making sure that we are vaccinated from COVID-19 and living through this. I partnered with the FDEM and the City of Orlando, and we were able to take about 400 vaccines over to Parkwood Plaza. That was the first day after the pause. We only had 50, but I'm glad to report on Friday when we went out to another site in the district, 400 people got the Pfizer. So that fear now is you know, it's no longer there. People still want this vaccine, and they ran out by 1:45, Mayor. So that was a great showing. I also joined Mayor Dyer on the 22nd at the grand opening of the Great Greek Mediterranean Grill, and some great food going on down there at the courtside street in front of the courthouse. A lot of development and a lot of great healthy food and a great team and ownership there. And it's right next, and you helped me with this, Mayor, next to a great planner of ours that is
Kevin
now
Tyaski Park.
Kevin Tyaski. So it's right there. If you want to go sit in the park there, City Park, and then get some great food, please go over and visit right there off of Magnolia. And on Friday 23rd, we had a Earth Day celebration at PKZ. They did a phenomenal job. Upcoming events is through the partnership of Florida Citrus Sports and the City of Orlando. As promised, we are having our job fair. As you know, there is a $60 million renovation going on over at Camping World Stadium, and it will be held at 4 p.m. We will have social distancing and COVID guidelines will be put in place. So if you're in any mechanical fields, electrical fields, plumbing, drywall, carpentry, and any general trade labor, please contact Paula Stansberry, is our partner at the Urban League, at 407-841-7654. And you can also contact Florida Citrus Sports, I believe, and they'll have the information also for you. On Saturday, May 1st, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., the city's Blueprint 2.0 medical program will have an outreach event. You can do it virtually or in person. You can look on my Facebook page for more information. Right now, there's folks going out door to door to spread this good news about the job opportunities in the medical field and also training opportunities. It will be held at the Northwest Community Center at 3955 W.D. Judge Drive, Orlando. The participants there that will be offering these medical courses are Valencia College, Southern Technical Institute, Career Sources will be there to offer scholarships. Central Florida Urban League will be there. They help us facilitate our stipend program, where the city has put funding in place where you earn as you learn. And this is a citywide program. This is not a district-wide program. So this is open to any city resident here in the city of Orlando. Advent Health has given $10,000. Also, if you don't qualify for one of the Career Sources scholarships, they have put some funding in place to help with a scholarship. So that's all I have in District 5.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll move on to Commissioner Burns.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I would also like to acknowledge the passing of Mr. Tim Adams, a true community stalwart, a veteran, a minister, activist, and a businessman who truly loved the city of Orlando. He will truly be missed. For the month of April, I named the CNC Pharmacy as the District 6 Business of the Month, owned by Chris and Cheryl Rouse, both proud FAMU graduates. CNC has proudly served the residents of District 6 and the city of Orlando in general, including my family, for over 30 years. I'm grateful for their service to our community and for their efforts to keep us safe and healthy. And for all of your pharmaceutical needs, I encourage you to pay CNC Pharmacy a visit, located in the Village Square Mall at 927 Goldwyn Avenue. Also, last Thursday, I partnered with Orlando Health for a virtual vaccine forum where myself and a panel of medical experts answered questions about the vaccines, its safety and effectiveness. And thanks to Stephanie Quinn from Spectrum 13 for moderating, Dr. Innocent Akwajobi from Orlando Health, Dr. Ernest Page, and Dr. Francois Cadet of Orange Blossom Family Health for joining and educating our audience. And I just want to encourage everyone to remain vigilant about staying safe, but also encouraging everyone to get the vaccine. I know there were some questions that may have been raised with the Johnson & Johnson pause, but it's important to recognize that if you have concerns about the Johnson & Johnson, the Pfizer and Moderna are still available, so we want to make sure that people know of their choice in vaccines. Also, just related to the vaccines, thank you to David Arnott and April Taylor and the city staff for the amazing work that they continue to do with helping to get our residents vaccinated. We had a successful event at Mount Pleasant Missionary Baptist Church this past Friday, and I know more events are coming soon. So again, thank you for their hard work. Also today, we will get our first set of census numbers to show how much our state's population has grown or shrank. And today's release is a basic population count for each state, but will give us an idea of how our seats in Congress may look for the next decade. While the city and county data won't be available for many months, the data released today shows how important it was for us to complete the 2020 census. And I want to thank the city staff again for the hard work that went into encouraging our citizens to participate in the census, especially during a global pandemic. And lastly, as I watched the guilty verdict in the Derek Chauvin murder trial on all 3 counts, I began to reflect on our local experience following the murder of George Floyd, and more specifically the swift action taken by this body under your leadership, Mayor Dyer, such as the alternative and community response teams for 911 calls relating to mental illness, to the contract with the Bowman Group for the thorough review of our policing practices and policies and procedures, and also to what Commissioner Hill mentioned, our expansion and investment in our youth programs and the expansion of the PKZ. And I'm proud to be a member of the City Commission, and while these steps were important, I want to encourage us to continue to find ways to identify and root out systemic racism and injustice, and truly demonstrate our endeavors as a city for equity, diversity, and inclusion. So I just want to say thank you to Mayor and my fellow colleagues for all of our work thus far as it relates to social justice, as well as diversity, equity, and inclusion. And Mayor Dyer, that completes my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. Commissioner Gray?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief. Activities are on our website, but I did want to mention on the agenda B3, thank our team along with Orange County Public School staff for helping us procure a small sliver of property so that we can increase access. Neighborhood schools are great, but sometimes they cause traffic tie-ups. So that was a good thing. The neighbors will like that. So thanks for your help on that. So that's all I had, sir.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Ortiz.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll yield my time to Commissioner Stewart.
Commissioner Stewart.
Thank you, Commissioner Ortiz. Well, I'm going to take the next 35 minutes to talk a little bit about the work of the, I've got a few short things. Let me say thank you also. Let me start down the list. I had not heard about Tim. Thank you very much for sharing that. Tim was a friend of mine, and he often used to brag that he used to work for my father years ago. He's a friend of mine. I'm sorry to hear that. My condolences go out to the family. Let me say a special thanks to David Arnott and April Taylor, following with Commissioner Burns about the COVID work. We had two sessions on Saturday and Sunday up at Trotters Park, and I appreciate that. I'm looking to see those results back, but I think from the people I drove by, it looked like it was pretty busy. I'm happy about that. Special thanks goes out to Daniel Friedline and other city staff that, with more than 30 volunteers who gave up their Sunday evening to plant over 1,200 Florida native plants over at the golf course, Dubstred Golf Course. We appreciate that. Unfortunately, they put it right into a place where I always hit my golf ball. So we've had to mark it as a free drop area so I don't take out plants when I go over there again. But it was great. It was we had a lot of people over there, and it's great seeing the ingenuity of our volunteers because we all started around and they gave everybody a big old shovel and they gave them 1 gallon plants. And a guy came back and said, okay, I got an auger. Another guy says, I got a post hole digger. Okay, can we go get it? Because we can do this a lot faster this way. And we all laughed. And I thought, that's what volunteers do. That's why I love them. Congratulations to the Manila Museum. We have a new exhibit over there that's going to be there for a few months from Mr. Eddie Muma. Eddie is a artist out of Gainesville, Florida. It's a great story about a native Florida artist. I get a chance to get over there. It's really it's a new collection that we have, and I'm excited about us getting that. Upcoming events: the Ivanhoe Village and the Mills 50 have teamed up for another Virginia Drive Live this Saturday night. That's starting at 5 o'clock. Our first Thursdays are back at the Orlando Museum of Art, and for those of you who would like to attend, it's starting May 6th. There would be an artistic look at the rise of the popularity of the stereotypical nerd. That's all I'm going to say about it. I won't make any comments to anybody in the room. Lou Gardens is a busy place for the month. May 7th, we have the Alphabet Plant Scavenger Hunt. May 1st. May 7th is Wonder Woman 1984 movie, and then May 9th is Mother's Day. So you get a chance to take your mother out. She gets free admission to the gardens. And the Orlando Shakespeare has moved into District 4. I had a chance to be there for their first play, and the next one's coming up is the Little Shop of Horrors, I think. Is that right? Excited about that. It was a great venue, and they did a wonderful job over there. I'm so thrilled about them and bringing back the arts in a very socially distanced way. So. 2 items on the agenda. Special thanks to those working on the Rosemont Gym lighting project. That's on D1. And then special thanks to Oren and Linda for the work that y'all have done on the emergency rental assistance program. Thank you for that. I think it's going to mean a great deal to our citizens, and I appreciate the workshop. And if you're listening and you want to hear more about it, check out the workshop. That will be posted on the website and hear more about the specifics on it. And that's all that I have, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner, and Commissioner Sheehan.
Thank you, Mayor Dyer, and I would like to thank my colleague, Commissioner Hill, for printing out the Pledge of Allegiance for me. That was hilarious. Anybody who saw me do it virtually, I messed it up, but in my defense, I've been saying the Pledge of Allegiance since I was 5 years old, but there is a little bit of a delay that was kind of throwing me off, so I would like to report that I said it correctly today. So thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Something that's just so very important is for everyone to get vaccinated. I lost half my friends between the age of 25 and 30 in the HIV and AIDS epidemic. And the average age right now in Orange County of people getting sick is 33. That's about the age I was when it happened. And you know what? We're still losing people. People are still being hospitalized. We cannot not take this seriously. I've had several of my friends who own nightclubs saying they're having a very difficult time getting people to wear masks. Younger people are not getting vaccinated. Y'all, this is so very important. There was a day last week in Orange County alone where we had over 500 new cases in one day. So we are not going to get where we need to go, which is with vaccination at 70% if folks aren't getting vaccinated. So I also want to thank David and April for everything they've been doing. I'm so happy that we were able to get folks in Muse Terrace. We had a very successful event. at Festival Park. But folks, you have got to get vaccinated. This is very, very serious. I know when you're young, you think you're immune and it's not going to happen to you. But my nephew had it, and it was awful. This is not something you want to get. And if it's as easy as getting a vaccination, please, please, please get your vaccination. It's free. Not going to say it's pain-free. It feels like a bee sting, but it's a lot better than getting COVID because, like I say, I've been personally impacted. I know some of my colleagues up here on the council have lost family members. This is something that you need to take very, very seriously. And please, please, please get your vaccination. On the agenda today, item B7, delighted to see the KPMG Emergency Rental Assistance Program, and there's been some misinformation put out there. There is MWBE participation with Indelible and Tetra Tech. So again, be careful what people put out there. Try to put their own spin on things. Oren and Linda have done a great job trying to make sure that we have proper representation on the awarding of this contract. At Lake Eola Park, events are starting to come back slowly. I've had some folks express some concern. All events at Lake Eola Park and any events throughout our city and any events as we start rolling out things with Family Parks and Recreation, our facilities, all of them have to have a COVID-19 plan in place, and I want to thank Family Parks and Recreation for all the hard work they're doing to make sure that as we open back up, we're doing so safely. As we start having events again, we are doing so safely. I have a couple things coming up. I'm going to be going to the Orange County Commission to talk on May 11th about puppy mills. This is people that are selling sick pets, and I want to support them on behalf of Orlando. We tried to pass this a couple years ago, but decided that was more appropriate for it to happen in Orange County. And we're working with the Humane Society and the Pet Alliance, and I'm really hoping that we can do something about this practice of selling sick animals to folks, and they have thousands of dollars in vet bills, and it's just a horrible, horrible business that's practiced, and it's a horrible way to do business in the suffering of animals. And our Florida legislature is in session, and cities are not safe right now. And something that I find particularly frustrating is our loss of local control, because we all worked for 2 years on a tree protection ordinance that then last year got shut down by the legislature. But something that's very frustrating to me, as someone who served in this council for 20 years, something that's very important to folks that live in my neighborhoods, is appearance review, to make sure that new infill development matches the look of our neighborhoods. And there is a legislator, Jason Broder, who is trying to push through right now, taking away all single-family home and duplex appearance review, including parking, garages, all those things, because a bad developer didn't like having to follow the rules in one area. And I think that's ridiculous. I think that we should be able to have local control. I serve on the Orlando City Council. I shouldn't have to have someone in Tallahassee tell me that the input of our residents, after we work with our community, we work with our planners, we work with our legal department to pass really good legislation that makes sense for the people that live in our neighborhoods, and we get preempted by the Florida legislature. I want to say to them, y'all have enough work to do. We're having problems in our schools. We have a pandemic going on, and this is the kind of stuff that you waste your time on. And not wasting time, you do things that actually hurt municipalities and communities, and it's just wrong. And I think you should stay in your lane. Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner, you got a motion by any chance?
Oh, I will make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner.
Again, I get emotional and I don't make the motion, so thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. All right, Madam Clerk, you're up. How about some hearings ordinances on second reading number 1? Madam Clerk, do I understand the only people that have signed up to speak are on ordinances first read number 3?
Yes, Mayor.
And I'll dispense with asking you each time whether we have public participation.
Okay. Ordinance number 2021-8, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the city's growth management plan to change the future land use map designation for certain land generally located south of Citrus Drive, north of Columbia Street, and east of Westmoreland Drive, comprised of 3.95 acres of land more or less from public, recreational, and institutional to office low intensity in part, and from residential low intensity to office low intensity in part, on the city's future land use map, changing the property zoning designation from public use with the traditional city overlay district in part to low intensity office residential with the traditional city overlay district in part, and from 1 to 2 family residential district with the traditional city overlay district to the low intensity office residential district with the traditional city overlay district in part, providing for amendment of the city's official future land use and zoning maps, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's error, permit disclaimer, and an effective date.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Burns, second by Commissioner Hill. Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 2, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance number 2021-9, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida relating to the city's growth management plan, amending future land use of area policy S.40.6 to remove the restriction on automotive service use within the Lake Whippoorwill area, providing for amendment of the city's growth management plan, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's error, and an effective date.
Move to adopt.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Stewart. I understand we have no one from the public that wants to speak, so discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. And number 3.
Ordinance number 2021-29, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida relating to the street name change renaming the westerly portion of East Concord Street, a portion of which is described in the plat Orlando Villa, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book O, page 19 of the Public Records of Orange County, Florida, generally located between Herndon Avenue west of Rickenbacker Drive to show Ultra Aviation Street, directing amendments to the official maps of the City of Orlando, Florida, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's error, and an effective date.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ortiz, second by Commissioner Stewart. Understand there's no public testimony, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. All right, let's go to ordinances on first read. Number 1.
Ordinance number 2021-22, an ordinance amending Articles 1 and 2 of Chapter 5 of the Code of the City of Orlando entitled Code Enforcement Board and Code Enforcement Citations, respectively, to correct certain terminology, update procedures, and add emergency orders to the list of codes for which citations may be issued, providing for severability and an effective date.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Stewart. I understand there's no one that wants to testify on this. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 2.
Ordinance number 2021-23, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending Chapter 43A of the Code of the City of Orlando entitled State of Emergency to add Chapter 5 of the Code of the City of Orlando to Section 43A.06 entitled Penalty as a Method of Enforcement, and providing for severability, codification, correction of scrivener's error, and an effective date.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Stewart. Was that Commissioner Sheehan?
Yep.
Second by Commissioner Sheehan. I understand no public testimony, so discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 3, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance number 2021-35, an ordinance of the City of Orlando, Florida relating to the regulation of taxi cabs, limousines, luxury passenger vehicles, shuttles, and other vehicles for hire, amending Chapter 55, Section 55.02 of the City Code relating to definitions, amending Chapter 55, Section 55.03 of the City Code relating to staff administration, amending Chapter 55, Section 55.12 of the City Code relating to liability insurance or surety bond, amending Chapter 55, Section 55.21 of the City Code relating to issuance of vehicle permits, amending Chapter 55, Section 55.22 of the City Code relating to vehicle permit renewal, amending Chapter 55, Section 55.23 of the City Code relating to replacement and transfer of vehicle permits, amending Chapter 55, Section 55.25 of the City Code relating to distribution of available taxi cab vehicle permits, amending Chapter 55, Section 55.30 of the City Code relating to driver permit, providing for codification, correction of scrivener's error, and an effective date.
Motion by Commissioner Burns, second by Commissioner Stewart. And I understand there is a request for public testimony related to this matter. You want to read the names off, Madam Clerk? I left my list upstairs.
Okay, up first is Albert Castagna. He's appearing in person. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Are these present or by Zoom?
All three are present.
3 are present. There we go.
We can hear you. All right. My name is Albert Castagna. I represent Quick Transportation, Quick Cab. My address is 6017 Sand Pines Boulevard, Orlando, Florida, 32819. I'm here today to talk about the insurance. I represent the public of the Orlando Cab Companies. Chapter 55 says that I must carry $1 million insurance on all my cabs, or cars actually. State regulation says 300,000 per car. All other areas go through the state regulations of 300,000. That's all throughout the rest of the state. The only insurance company that I can get is with Progressive, which allows me to insure 5 cars per policy. I have to open another corporation for another 5 cars at a cost of $400 per corporation. We have independent men and women who would like to work, but I can't open up that many because of the insurance through Progressive. Progressive rates drivers and charges anywhere from $200 to $1,500 for a new driver who do not meet their standards. Part of it is age, which is, that's against the rules. In the past, we could register one driver to 1,000 drivers on one policy, and also the cars, based on their driving record, and our company would like to help small businesses to open independent drivers. We already have lost 2 major companies in the past year. Star Taxi, Ace Metro Luxury, and basically it was insurance, not to COVID. And also the Ubers out there, that's a little pain in the ass. But the other thing is, my insurance just right now, when I've only got, I am the smallest one, but we only have 15 cars out there, and my insurance to date is $190,672, which basically comes out to about $12,700 for each of the cars. Now, also I want to speak on changing Chapter 55, Section 55, number 12, which is the passenger limits that they put in there. And right now it says 6 passengers. We're saying I'd like to move it to 7 passengers without the driver. And under B, it says 7 or more passengers. I'd like to change that to 8 without a driver. Now, the next portion you mentioned is distribution of permits. What we're proposing is stop the larger companies who already have well over 50 to 52% of the permits, which is a monopoly, and instead of giving it out that way, which I could not find in the 55 where it says the rules for that. So I'm proposing the new permits should be divided equally among the 4 existing companies. Or if you'd like, you can give me more to Quick Cab, because we can help us stay in business. And also at the last meeting that we had at the police department, nobody else wanted additional permits except for myself, because we are the smallest one. So any help that you guys can do, we'd appreciate.
Okay, thank you
very much.
Thank you for your testimony. We'll take that under consideration.
I appreciate it.
Next is Blair Kingsley. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Good afternoon. My name is Kingsley Blair, Diamond Cab 803 Fairvilla Road, Orlando, Florida, 32808. Mr. Mayor and City Council members, thank you for this time. I'll be very, very brief. First of all, I want to thank this Vehicle for Hire staff that's been in liaison with the council on some of the many challenges we've had as an industry in the last 18, 24 months. Prior to COVID, during the advent of the TNCs, the Vehicle for Hire industry locally here has suffered tremendously. So we really applaud the effort of the staff who has, like I said, been liaison with your office and the council. We're trying to make some accommodations for us to remain in business. As my previous colleague mentioned, 2 of the previous companies went out of business prior to COVID, and some of it was because of the heavy regulation, primarily around cost of insurance. So I'm glad to see there was some accommodation to make the insurance requirements similar to the Florida statutes. So we're okay with that. So we appreciate that. That will help lower our costs and help us to remain in business. As far as the other changes, I think pretty much all the other changes are in line with what our company is okay with. There is a challenge we have right now with the dormant permits because, as you know, during COVID, we were not able to put all of our fleet in operation. And the current language, we had requested an extension with the dormant taxi permits because if you don't have them in operation for a certain period of time, you actually lose those permits and they become revoked. So the chief had did an extension through April 30th in regards to 55.21 to extend the dormant permits revocation through April 30th. We've put a request in to have that extended because we're still rebounding from this definite horrible pandemic, so we can't put our entire fleet in operation at this time because it does not warrant it. And we don't want to lose those actual permits, so we're requesting that there be some conversation in relates to the dormant permits for another extension, so the current taxi operators that has weathered the storm and try to provide service for the airport and the city don't lose those permits. As we mentioned, 2 companies went out of business and we're struggling, but we want to still remain here in City Beautiful and provide service to the residents and the visitors to Orlando. So if you could take that into consideration, we'd appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, this is first read, so we'll visit with the chiefs taking note of all the
Thank you,
concerns. Madam Clerk.
And our last speaker is Louis Verdico. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to speak.
My name is Louis Verdico, Vice President, Sound Country Transportation at 6608 Kings Point Parkway, Orlando, Florida, 32835. Again, I would also like to thank the Vehicles for Hire in the City of Orlando for working with us and helping us during these trying times. Instead of me going through and repeating the same thing the other 2 gentlemen said, I do agree with everything they both have spoken about, especially about the insurance on the vehicles, the distribution of the permits, and the dormant permits. I mean, that is a very important part because even though business is slowly starting to come back, it is still very far off from what it should be. And we really do need that assistance to continue to operate and not lose the permits that we have fought to get and maintain. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all 3 for coming today. Chief, will you take note of those issues and we can discuss them between now and the second reading of the ordinance?
Mayor, I might have one more speaker, a Joseph Madado, who's appearing via Zoom. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Yes, my name is Joseph Madiedo. I'm at 2003 West Kennedy Boulevard in Tampa, Florida. I was going to try to make it over today, but I was unaware that you would be allowing in-person visitors, so my apology for that. I was wanted to speak on the ordinance change for the limit of liability, and I've been working with the for hire office with the city police department on providing information from the insurance industry on the need for the change of limits and trying to save a lot of the taxi cab companies there through the lowering of the cost of insurance. And I just wanted to point out that I think a lot of my material and what I've gathered over the last year for this was attached to some of this and given to you guys to look at, where I basically two of the largest carriers for taxi cabs in the state of Florida are domiciled and admitted here in Florida, and neither one of them write the $1 million limits for meter bubble top taxi cabs for certain reasons. I don't have a lot of time to go over all those reasons, so that's why I have a lot of what I was going to present in writing already ahead of time. And if anyone has any questions in regards to the insurance industry on the limit of liability and how it affects and impacts these taxi operators and what has happened within our industry that has caused the market for high risk $1 million limits for high risk like taxi cabs and buses and things to become near unaffordable and operate a successful business at the same time, has a lot to do with the reinsurance market as a whole across the nation. So I think I put a lot of this in writing already, and I just wanted to express myself in person as well to let you know I'm available for any kind of from the insurance industry and what's going on with pricing in regards to a high limit for taxi cabs. Thank you.
Okay, and we appreciate your input. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Chief, some of that sounds pretty legit in terms of the extension of the dormant medallions and looking into the insurance issue. Okay, Madam Clerk, number 4.
Ordinance number 2021-36, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, relating to regional public facility designation and signage, approving an amendment to the master sign plan for the Dr. Phillips Center pursuant to Section 64.320 Orlando City Code, providing for conflicts, penalties, severability, correction of scrivener's error, permit disclaimer, and an effective date.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Madam Clerk, any public testimony?
No, Mayor.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. All right, that concludes the official business of the Orlando City Council. Ed, can you get us prepared for general appearance?
We return you to our regularly